going on, Jeromes? So, beautiful Wednesday, birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings news dump. And I understand that the Vikings are young. I understand there's a lot of changes. I understand all this. But what is stopping the Vikings from making a legitimate run this year? What is stopping them from, if J.J. McCarthy wins a starting job? I believe in Sam Darnold, but say McCarthy is that guy and is ready to go. You have weapons all over the place. That defense is going to be feisty and opportunistic. What's stopping the Vikings from being the 2024 version of the 2023 Texans plus? What's stopping them? Like, instead of just getting stopped in the divisional round, how about all the way? Them. You're sick if you think the Vikings can win the Super Bowl this year. Me. That's right, man. That's right. Mainly because of this connection. All right, so JJ and the Jets. It works, right? But I feel like the graphic design departments, this is from NFL.com, I feel like they've absolutely been on one. And I feel like we're getting to the point where the AI or the Photoshop is replacing real life. I think like all of the filters, all of the artificial enhancements, just taking over, man. But either way, 9 to 18, it's going to be a connection that's going to feed families for a long time. Also, so I know there's talks like, well, the Vikings took McCarthy as a QB5, but they wanted May, but they wanted Penix, and wanted blah, blah, blah. Either way, it doesn't matter. J.J. McCarthy is your guy. Vikes fan page put this together. The Vikings would have been comfortable with either J.J. McCarthy or Michael Penix at pick 11 per Tom Pelissero, NFL Network. Minnesota had J.J. McCarthy higher on their draft board, but Penix was pretty close in their opinion to McCarthy. Once Penix was taken by the Falcons at 8, Minnesota started to sweat it out and trade up with the Jets at pick 10 to secure their franchise quarterback. Like I said, Penix would have been great. I love me some Michael Penix. I think that he'll do great things with the Falcons. We're actually going to talk about them for a second at the end. But, yeah, McCarthy is your guy. And love the one you're with. And like I said, the entire draft process is, hey, I have reservations about certain guys. I love certain guys. But once a dude is on your team, that's your effing guy. It's like me and Kyrie Jackson. Like, I have some question marks, but he's the dude, and he's going to be a future first ballot Hall of Famer. Another future first ballot Hall of Famer is Vikings signed up a new punter, Seth Vernon. That's right. So the pride of Portland State was a UDFA with the Falcons 2022. So, hey, we got you back for tampering with Kurt. Not a last year. So I don't know. Like, it's good to have competition. So now you have two kickers with Will Rackard and John Parker-Romo, and now Seth Vernon in and challenging Ryan Wright. Now, Wright had a great rookie season, not so much last year, but also I feel like the power is sucking into him because so Wright was number 14 last year. That's going to Sam Darnold, who's worn 14 throughout his NFL and college career, and now Wright is changing to 17. Now the 1-7 and Wright means something to this franchise because before KJ Osborne there was Jarius. It said Jarius Wright, the pride of Arkansas. Pig. Right, love me the Razorbacks. I mean, Jarius Wright was so good for a long time. Now, was he ever the superstar wide receiver 1 or 2? No, but he really was kind of like KJ, which is kind of funny since they both were 17 and played in the slot. Is that whenever you needed a big play on third down or in a money spot, Jarius Wright was going to come up with one. It was like Jarius Wright with that 80-plus yard screen in overtime at the bank against the Jets. Teddy throwing the game-winning 86-yard touchdown, but really it was just a 2-yard screen pass. It's funny, man. But, Jarius Wright was good. And I feel like that's good karmic juju because when there was a Wright number 17 with the Vikings, everything was good. Maybe we'll get back to good. Matchbox 20 style. Also... fun thing that went viral on the old Twitter machine is that blocking by AD put out, explain this in sports terms. So you're looking at a beautiful Lamborghini. Is that tangerine? A good looking piece of Italian machinery, right? In front of we'll call it a fixer-upper. There you go. Although that house in the West Metro right now is probably $450. Great. Wonderful. But explaining this in sports terms, so the first thing I came up with was Adrian friggin' Peterson with Christian Punter. Or, the quarterbacks for Adrian in the 296 game, his rookie year against the Chargers, was T-Jack, rest in power, and Brooks Bollinger. Great. Good, great, grand, wonderful. Also, so I believe in Thielen. I know they drafted Xavier Leggett. I know they have Mingo. I know that, they're trying to find ways to replace him, but and also they did put out a clip of like, oh, Bryce Young getting in work with Adam Thielen. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I still think that Thielen is that Lamborghini with the Panthers. I'll always have love for the pride of Mankato State University Community College. There you go. Also, so updated look at the NFC North quarterbacks. So McCarthy's in there. I know that Sam Darnold could hold on to a job, but I feel like even though Kevin O'Connell's talked about, there's going to be check boxes and checklists for McCarthy to hit before he gets the field, I think McCarthy is cocksure enough that he might just win this damn job to start the season. And that's not an aspersion on Sam Darnold. I think it could be a spot where both of them play well. McCarthy eventually gets a nod. But I feel like Lions fans got to be so upset is that they went 12-5, allegedly, won the division, allegedly, and they still end up with the worst quarterback in the division. All right, so Caleb Williams, the potential is there. The Bears are going to ruin him, but, that's... why spoil the ending? Jordan Love is going to get massively overpaid. And also, let's not forget that Jordan Love was asked thank you the first half of last year. So let's see if he can actually build on that. We'll see. But Jared Goff is looking to get paid. Because they paid Amon-Ra, they paid Penei Sewell, and they're probably going to have to pay Jared Goff like $55 million a year. We'll take it. And Lions fans got to be upset because J.J. McCarthy, their prodigal son, the guy who could finally beat Ohio State, the guy who brought them an undefeated season and national title, now they have to hate his guts because, McCarthy's going to stand in their way from winning the division for 20 years. And yeah, the draft had to be tough for Lions fans because, like 500,000 of them were packing the plaza, and they saw the Bears get their future franchise guy. They saw their favorite son, J.J. McCarthy, going to a division rival. It's tough all the way around. And also, they drafted 2 cornerbacks in Terran Arnold and Rakestraw because they're scared. They're absolutely scared and petrified of the aerial assault that's going to be going on in this division, especially from McCarthy to JJ to JJ, JJ to JA, JJ to TJ, all the J's. How much for a ZJ? If you gotta ask, man. So speaking of which, all right, so when Kurt popped his Achilles, right? And I know, why are you still talking about Kurt? Well, it relays back to the Vikings. We'll get into it. So Jesse Morris. So there's lots of Twitter doctors out there, but take everything with a grain of salt. But Jesse Morris actually seems like a medical practitioner. So talks about sports injuries a lot. He tweeted this out. The last quarterback to come back from an Achilles injury tear was Diamond Dan Marino. The difference between Aaron Rodgers' injury and Kirk Cousins is that for Rodgers, it's on his lead plant foot, so his left, whereas for Cousins, it's on his power drive foot, his right. It will be interesting to see if Cousins loses any velocity with this injury. I don't expect Rodgers to lose any. Drafting Michael Penix Jr. in general isn't insane given Cousins' injury plus how Cousins' contract is structured. See photo below, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, it had to be early top 10 or he would have been gone. So the thing with Cousins, like that in the back of my mind, I thought about that too, where his Achilles injury was not the same as Rodgers and obviously a different foot. And, later in the season that factors in. And I think that's one of the main reasons beyond age is that why the Vikings held fast. And they're like, hey, we're not going to offer you big time guaranteed money. We don't know how you're going to come back from this injury. And the Falcons, I honestly wonder if the Falcons have some buyer's remorse right now. Because even though they clearly tampered with Kirk Cousins, like he said, maybe that wasn't a thorough medical exam. And obviously they didn't see him out on the practice field. They didn't have him work out. And it could be a spot where maybe he's not the same guy with after this Achilles. Because one of the things that Kurt is good at is play action. That takes mobility, as well as driving the ball accurately down the field. And if he can't plant like he used to, and his velocity takes a dip, that's a major part of his game. So it would be interesting. And maybe the Falcons realize that, and they're like, oh, crap. Kurt might not even be on the field during OTAs. He might not even be on the field during training camp. So we better get Michael Penix Jr. all up in this building because he won't be around round 2. And maybe that was their thinking. And I get dollars for donuts. Like Michael Penix is such a freaking alpha. Also, the chutzpah of taking number 1 with the Falcons. So Kurt's probably not going back for OTAs. I could see Penix just getting in there and dropping dimes and piss missiles to Pitts and London and just really looking damn good. And basically daring Morris and the coaching staff is like, hey, I dare you to bench me. The fans love me. The fans are cheering for me. The fans know that I have to get on the field now because I'm going to be 24. And if I actually have to wait for 2 years, I'm going to be 26. And it's not the same as Jordan Love. So I think it's a spot where Penix could play so well in OTAs, minicamp, and training camp, and preseason where they actually have a decision with Kurt. Could it be a situation where they paid Kurt 4 years, $180 million with $100 million guaranteed, and he doesn't play a single down? It would be hilarious. Oh, man. Something's not hilarious is Anthony Edwards. Beautiful. Now, I'm going out on a limb and saying that the winner of Nuggets and Wolves is going to win the whole thing. Like, the NBA Finals is in the Western Conference semifinals. That's how good these two teams are. And I say bring it. Bring it, man. And people will make a lot the Nuggets beat the Wolves last year, blah, blah, blah. That was without several players with injuries, right? So bring it on. And also, the Wolves social media team has been on one. There was MJ, there was Kobe, now there's Anthony Edwards. And what's great about this, no one says that this is weird. No one raises eyebrows, said, this doesn't sync up. No, in terms of dominating alpha two guards, I mean, Anthony Edwards is it. And it's beautiful to see. Plus, he plays tenacious defense. He, at his heart, is still a winner and a team-first guy. He isn't just about points, like Kobe was, but he just wants to win and dominate. That's why he's much more MJ than Kobe. Rest in power. But, I mean, we're watching greatness, and greatness that wants to be here in the great state of Minnesota on a max contract, and he's very happy. I love it, man. And, again, we're just weeks away from Jefferson inking up here long term. So the face of the NBA, the face of the NFL, all together in the great state of Minnesota. Hot dish, baby. Let's go, man. But that's it. That's the Vikings news dump for this beautiful Wednesday. You guys know what to do. Skull production value.